Welcome to Bet On It Monday Night Football Edition. We have a AFC West matchup going on, but let's bring in Marco and Joe to get started. We've been talking off air, waiting to go live, and there's been some really hot debates depending on whether Dak should be the starter in Dallas and when is the Eagles going to play a non-high school football team. We are already fired up. But let's ask the guys how their weekends went first. 2-0 yesterday for me in NFL. We're not going to talk about Saturday and just move on from that. I'll take my small victories when I can. Marco, I put in the Slack channel. If you guys don't know what Slack is, it's like the business communication thing that I hate and I'd never want to check. But I'm with Jay Money, Steve Merrill, Prez, Marco, and we all have a entry in a Las Vegas contest. And I said we were going to relegate Marco for his Browns pick. But sure enough, Marco had 2 in the hook. So congratulations to him there. And I'm sorry for calling you out. I wanted to call out Prez for the Falcons, but they came screaming through that back door in Tampa, and I will gladly take that W.
Yeah, but you agreed with Prez on that Falcons play.
So I did, and I said it's a kiss of death. I never want to agree with Prez, ever, ever, ever. If I agree with Prez, it is probably a bad day in my world, and it sure looked like the Bucs could have won that game 28-0. And then all of a sudden, they just stopped playing defense. I was there. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Jerome Boger had the Falcons,
I've got a bigger question for you. In Cleveland,
and I think Scott,
very close to
Scott
being
Kovac
put on.
had the Bengals last night, but that's beside the point as well.
Different story.
Kelly, Cleveland was very close to being put on the do not bet list after yesterday. And we got that half-point win as far as the contest goes. With Cleveland. But I got to ask the question. I asked it to Joe before you logged in, Kelly. Who is the dumber mother, you-know-whatter, between Stefanski and Staley, okay, between the Browns coach and the Chargers coach? Because I'm going to tell you what, in horse racing, we have requested a photo finish, okay? We need to go to them and look at it, magnify it, because it's a dead heat between stupidity. You got Stefanski in the third quarter, down 3, with 9 minutes to go. Goes for it on 4th and 1 at his own 34-yard line. Virtually, if you don't get it, you hand the other team a field goal at the minimum. He goes for it, doesn't get it, and you get a field goal from the Chargers. Only to be outdone. And we won't talk about the other stupidity things. I'll let Joe chime in with those ones on Stefanski. But you got Staley, 4th and 1, 4th quarter. Cleveland has no timeouts left. 1:14 left in the game. It's 4th and 1. It's your own 46-yard line, and you're winning by 2 points. 2 points. A field goal beats you.
Yep.
You punt the football. There is no world that I live in that you ever go for it on 4th and 1. I don't care, okay? He goes for it and gets stopped and gives Cleveland an opportunity to win the game, only they missed their second field goal of the game to blow it. After they got a 10-yard gain on the second play of the possession and was in field goal range, and I texted you, Kelly, we're sitting at a 52, 53-yard field goal right now, and you've got the 2 best running backs in the league. Run the football, get up to center, spike the football at 3 seconds, and kick the game-winning field goal. No, they threw the football 3 times. Joe, you want to explain?
No, you're not taking into consideration how good that Charger defense was there yesterday, right? Because they were stopping them. Oh, no, that's right. That wasn't the right game either. Yeah, no, you're right, Marco. Out of control. And how many times is Stefanski going to allow Brissett to throw the damn ball when the game matters the most into the other player's hands? Stop it. Like, Stefanski, did you see the smirk on his face after they missed the game-winning field goal there at the end, and he just laughed it off like, wow, we were so close. It's just everything's going against us. No, you're going against you. That's what it is. You're going against you. But, hey, Deshaun Watson's apparently allowed back in the building. I don't even know what the hell that means. Right, what does that mean, Cal?
Deshaun comes back, all of his worries are going to go away. He's just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, Brandon Staley is the second coming of Anthony Lynn. Trust me. I had Herbert on my fantasy team, and it was really infuriating to be handed our first loss, and that is why. It is what it is. We're going to move on. Joe, how was your weekend?
Weekend was great. We got the best bet here with the first half over in New Orleans and Seattle. Yeah, what a shock. Seattle playing to an over. Remember that moving forward. And, yeah, the New York Jets, the gangrene, cashing receipts here right now. Took care of business with Miami for our dog, so we were excited. It was, for the first time in a long time, we can actually say the Jets, well, they're not great, but they don't suck anymore. We're not laughing at them anymore, Cal, so it's a good time to be a Jet fan.
Did you grow up a Jet fan? That's always really interesting. I don't know how you ever get children on that bandwagon.
Yes.
Because when I was growing up, I had a couple of teams to choose from. The Dallas Cowboys were really good, the Chiefs close proximity, and the Denver Broncos. Yep. And I obviously went with the best team of the three. Like, that's what kids do. That's why there's so many kids that my friends have that are all little Alabama fans. And I'm like, where did this come from? Because they see it on TV and they join. I've never understood how anybody ever became Jets fans. Giants makes a little sense. Jets, not so much. So sorry to Joe for having to have a lifetime of pain. That being said, shout out to Skylar Thompson coming in after basically Teddy Bridgewater played three snaps maybe? Was that even that many? I was at the Falcons-Bucks game, so I apologize if I misspeak on anything because I was not watching a single morning game. That being said, I just wanted to give Skylar, as Joe mentioned, he played better than Jacoby Brissett. So we'll see how that one looks in Miami moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, we're going on to Monday Night Football. I cannot believe this line is not 7.5, but it's sitting right at 7. Divisional dogs have been barking all weekend long. Can the Raiders bark in Arrowhead? Total 51.5. There's even some 52s out there. Joe, I'm going to go to you first. I don't know if I can take the Raiders here. I'm not going to lay it with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the Bills on deck and have been playing at such an elite level. If the Raiders even had some semblance of a defense, I could maybe consider taking them here. And I mentioned those divisional dogs have been doing really well on the road in particular, and including this weekend. I just don't know if I want to get involved here.
It's so hard, Kel, because you're absolutely correct. Why is this not 8? Why is this not 7.5? Why is this not? I mean, we're looking at 80% of the tickets here across the board are on Kansas City. They have been all week, and this line refuses to budge, which makes you scratch your head and go, Now, I will say this. There is obviously some overvaluing going on. We know Andy Reid's dominance on Monday night, guys, with Kansas City. 7-2-1 against the number. I believe they have been phenomenal. We just watched Kansas City just destroy the Bucs prime time last week, right? So to me, this might be a little bit overinflated, not to mention Kansas City has dominated this series, right? Beat them last year by a combined 3,000-4 or whatever it was. It was absurd. But keep in mind, this is not the same Raiders defense. It's not Gus Bradley, thank God for Raider fans. It's not Gus Bradley. He's not going to be blitzing Mahomes all over the thing and being picked apart. It's actually the former Giant defensive coordinator in Patrick Graham, who, by the way, with a hell of a lot less talent last year, did a really good job of frustrating Patrick Mahomes with Tyreek Hill and with Kelsey and with a few more weapons. So it is a different playing field here, I think, which is why we're not seeing this thing creep up much more than a touchdown. The value is on the Raiders. But it's very, very hard, like you said, to look at that Raider defense and go, that secondary is tough. You know me, Kel, if I was going to go anywhere, if you were leaning towards Mahomes in Kansas City, the first half number is 4.5. Then this game is probably over in the first half if that's what you're thinking. So I would look Kansas City first half before I looked full game because I think Kansas City's going to do what Kansas City does well, and that's probably get their share of points. But the problem is Devontae Adams and that Kansas City defense, remember this, against number 1 wide receivers on the other team this year, they're 29th in the league. They're giving up monster yardage. to the other team's best wide receiver. This could be a huge game for Davante Adams as well. So I'm going to look at the first half. I'm going to say Kansas City gets it done, but full game is very, very difficult to look at Kansas City here. So I'll lean with them in the first half.
Marco, last week I asked Ralph to pull some TNA about teams playing in back-to-back primetime games. Remember, the Chiefs just throttled the Bucs on Sunday Night Football. He unfortunately had no data for us, but something does tell me that maybe this is kind of a flat spot for Kansas City. While it shouldn't be, with the Bills on deck playing for a home field advantage in January, we may be seeing an AFC Championship preview next week. I just feel like if this was 7.5, it would be so easy to tease the Chiefs. And that's where my hang up is here. And I just want to know, what are the math guys saying?
Don't get me started on math guys, okay? All right, because you know you're gonna set me off. All right, me and the math guys don't play well together.
Okay, I had to sneak that in there here somewhere, just because, as I mentioned, there were several rants prior to us going live, and Marco going off on the math guys. I wish that Dan, our producer, would have just recorded it. Marco versus the math guys. Next, Rough and Rowdy, presented by Barstool Sports.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kelly, I'm going to date you a little bit. You know, you gave Joe a lot of crap about, growing up being a Jets fan. There was a time that the Jets were relevant. They actually had a quarterback
in
named
the 70s?
Joe Willie Namath. And I can picture
that was in like
Joe
1950.
I wasn't even born, Marco. Good God.
Joe Namath.
That's what I mean.
Did you have a first?
I know who Joe Namath is, Marco.
Listen, I just had a drink with him. He was trying to kiss the bartender. You got to be kidding me. I know who Namath is. Guy's fantastic.
All right, so let's get to this game. And you know what, Joe, you hit the nail on the head when you opened this game up talking about a fishy line. And, our esteemed colleague that does bet on it on the Wednesday edition, Ariel, she does a video every Sunday, the fishy lines, which makes me hungry for sushi every Sunday when I want to be eating wings. But this is one you should have included, because why is this sitting at 7? I have not seen an average Joe anywhere that I've been this week. When I've been in the sports book, I've been at a poker table, whatever, that doesn't say, and the Raiders are our hometown team, that doesn't think the Chiefs are going to smack them. Why not? They got drilled both games last year. Kansas City put up 41 and 48, I believe, in the two games. Absolutely blew them out. But the Raiders in those games last year turned the ball over. I think it was like 6-1 in the games in the turnovers for the turnover edge. And yeah, you're going to get smacked when that happens. But you also mentioned it, Kelly, the teasers. The books in Vegas will knock each other over, moving a game from 7.5, all the way to 9 just to stop teasers. Because I can tell you, nobody's teasing the Raiders up. They're teasing Kansas City down. And yet this line just sits at 7. And I got in a heated debate with our buddy Teddy Covers this morning. Imagine that, Teddy disagreeing with something, telling me whenever I said, look ahead, this is a look ahead spot, for Kansas City. And, it's a division game. It's Monday Night Football. Teddy come at me. I said, Teddy, I'm not saying they're going to roll over.
I agree. Listen, Marco, but I agree with you. The Raiders suck. I thought that this was going to be the most competitive division in football. The Broncos are trash. The Raiders are trash. Yep. And the Chargers head coach is trash. Now, there's going to be some exceptions to the rule there with this Chargers team, because they do have Justin Herbert, a pair of decent receivers, and an okay defense. But my God, the AFC West was wrong. So yeah, I agree with you. I understand Teddy's just playing contrarian. He does it to all of us. I think he's a Scorpio like you, Marco. You guys like to make people look stupid.
And I said, Teddy, yes, but you're coming off Tampa Bay, Tom Brady. That's Mahomes. That's always a big game, because everybody compares the old GOAT to the new GOAT coming. So that's a big game. But next week is for the AFC Championship home field, in my opinion. That's a key game. They can just go through the motions and they feel they can beat the Raiders. Next week's a big game. And for all that we've heard, how many people all winter long, myself included, have said The only reason Buffalo didn't win that playoff game was they lost the coin toss. Kansas City's tired of hearing about that too. They want to make a statement next week when they play Buffalo. So, yes, this is a big game on Monday Night Football, but they got a bigger game next week. That's the point of it. I like the Raiders here. The number has not moved off of 7, as you guys said. Who the hell is betting it, and how much are they betting to keep this line at 7? Some sharp money, in my opinion.
It's the math guys, Marco. It's the math guys.
Yeah, you hate them, and now you want to be with them. No, the math says this is a touchdown game. I think the bookmakers are begging everybody. I think that, in my opinion, they're just hoping for something great at the very end. 28-24 final. Even they probably even take a push so that they can bury the people that did take the 7.5, because there were 7.5s out there, Marco. It was a blip on the radar, but they were out there.
And that tells you that every time you saw it, it was gone as fast as you saw it, meaning the sharp money's grabbing the Raiders. I'm on the Raiders here. I think this game is going to be last possession game. And let's not forget, what did the Raiders do in the offseason? They went out and got the biggest free agent available. Why? Because they were trying to build this team to compete with Kansas City. They got tired of not having enough offensive weapons, and they went out and got Devontae Adams. I like the Raiders in this spot. They finally got a win last week. If they hadn't got a win yet, I might have been a little more skeptical, because the toughest win for a new coach is the first win. Let's face it. And if you've been here in Vegas, natives were getting restless, okay? You made this big signing. You went out and got Devontae Adams. You hired, Josh McDaniels to be your coach and all of that. And, oh, by the way, Josh McDaniels, where did he come from? New England. Isn't that where Bill Belichick is? And I'm not a fan of anybody that's come off of the Bill Belichick coaching tree, but Belichick always had a pretty good history when matching up against Kansas City. We had some wars. Granted, he had, Tom Brady there for most of those games last couple years, no, but he knew how to try to slow down this Kansas City team. Do you think that helps Josh McDaniels in his game preparation? Yes, it does. I'm taking the Raiders. I'm going to go ahead and call it 31-27. Kansas City escapes, but I'll take the money.
So I do apologize. My dog had surgery this morning. He is whining in the background. So no, he is not being tortured if you guys hear this while I'm talking. But I did want to get an opinion from you guys in regards to the total. And do you guys think Josh McDaniels is on the hot seat? So Marco knows, when I used to write for the Las Vegas Review-Journal back in the day, I still subscribe every once in a while, and I see little blippets of things. And I kind of wonder if that Broncos job didn't just say that Broncos win last week and didn't quite just save his job. So, Joe, I'm going to go to you first. Marco mentioned over the total. I mentioned under. These primetime unders have been great. Unders all season have been really good for the most part, almost hitting at a 58.5% clip. Right now, 51.5, 52 at some spots. Just like the Chiefs, we know nobody's rushing in the window to bet this under.
No, nobody. 26 also in the first half of this game here. And I think the bets are correlated. I definitely think if you like the Raiders here, then you're probably looking at an under in this spot here. And if you like Kansas City to run away with this thing, like most people are anticipating, they're going to get their points then, and their team total is 30.5. You got to think they're going to go up and over that if this game's going over. So I do think they're correlated, but to Marco's point, I'll tell you this, guys. Since 2020, the Chiefs, as a favorite of more than a field goal, 7-17 against the number. This has not been a very great spot to back Kansas City as this kind of favorite. So it makes it very difficult to lay to 7, but I'm looking at that first half under here, Cal. I think we might get a little bit of a dogfight early. I don't think it's that big of a we're not going to get a 30-point first half here. Certainly ain't going to get a 28-point first half. I think this is going to be a little bit slow going. They're not going to give Patrick Mahomes the ability to go over the top. It's going to be dink and dunk all over the place. Something's going to break, but I think it's going to break in the second half. I'm looking at that under in the first half and under for the game.
Ooh, first half under. I just wrote that one down. Making a little mental note, if you will. Marco, your thoughts on this total? Do you have the guts to back the under? I don't know if I do.
Well, I gave you a predicted score of 31-27. So
wait, let me get the math guys on the phone. Hello?
I just want to say this.
Did you put that
really?
Yes, that's over. The math guys say it's over.
But Kelly, I will say this from last week. If I would have told you that Kansas City was going to score 41 points on the Tampa Bay defense, do you really want to be sitting watching this game tonight with an under in your ticket? But you know what was more surprising than scoring 41 points on Tampa? They ran the football 37 times last week. The Kansas City Chiefs ran the football 37 times last week. Think about that for a minute. And they still got 41 points. Nah, I don't want no part of an under. I'm not saying that the over's the right side. I'm saying I'm too damn old to have an over ticket in my pocket and try to watch it. Not after I went through that Cleveland Charger game yesterday, all right? This didn't happen overnight, folks. Okay?
I'm not gonna lie, Marco. I'm due to get my hair done on Wednesday, and I was looking. I was like, "Do I have gray hair?" Oh, good. I'm still good. This has not stressed me out too much just yet, but I'm with you. I'll just turn the game off. If it gets like that, I'll just turn it off. I have no shame. I don't think I'm going to be getting involved tonight. Full disclosure. Joe says if you like tonight's game, look towards the first half. Chiefs first half -4. First half under 26. Marco says screw it. Stop overthinking it, math guys. You freaking nerds. Take the Raiders +7. We're going to be back on Wednesday. That's right. College football, NFL, TNA, teasers, except I still hate those teasers. Barking dogs. Are you high? Maybe the deli's back open. We're going to find out. But it is time for us to go. And we will see you next Wednesday. Until then, let's bet on it.
Hey, NHL fans, the wait is over. The National Hockey League gets underway on Tuesday, October 11th, and last season, 8 WagerTalk handicappers won over 50 units in the NHL. To celebrate the start of the season, we are offering a 7-day NHL package for only $49. Yes, that's only $7 a day, and it will be valid through Sunday, October 9th. Don't worry, NBA fans, we'll be running the same special for you next week.